Good evening, everyone, and good morning to people in the Southeast Asia. We have Shine Samath, head of sales in Sri Lanka. Hey, Shine, how are you?
Hey, Navin, I'm doing great. How are you? Good evening to you.
Good afternoon to you. I'm doing exceptionally well. All right, so this is a program which we do every single week. We talk about questions which we get for that particular week. This week, it means that I think we are getting more questions on the western suburbs of Melbourne. Let's go through it and have a little discussion so that the purpose is it'll add some value to you by listening into this. But at the same time, if you have any questions on any property investment matter, please feel free to put them in on Facebook, and we're more than happy to answer them. What have we got today, Shine?
That's right. Right, Navin, we have a few questions. Maybe you could elaborate on them. These are pretty simple questions, but I think they're very important when it comes to an investment decision, whether it's residential or investment based. Let me start off with the first one. Current interest levels for purchasing land in the western suburbs of Melbourne have skyrocketed. Why do you think this is the case, Navin?
Yeah, a few reasons. Western suburbs have been very, very popular. One is the price point. If you look at the north or the southeast, especially the southeast, you cannot purchase a block of land below $400,000. And when you package it up, you're looking at 700,000 or more. Whereas western suburbs, which are highly developing, there are suburbs out there where you can still get a package around 500 or 550. That's one of the main drivers. At the same time, investors understand the growth potential there. And those are the two main reasons why people are flocking into the western suburbs.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, I have quite a number of people I talk to on a daily basis who showing a lot of interest in the western suburbs. I think they have done their own due diligence and looking more towards the west. As you said, price factors, development, the so-called pie that we talk about.
Yeah.
Population, infrastructure, employment. I think most of them are getting their ticks west of Melbourne.
Correct.
Right. Second question would be, when it comes to the most important factors or key drivers for growth in property appreciation, what really stands out in the west of Melbourne?
I think what really stands out is the infrastructure development. The main project is the Westgate Tunnel project, which will cut down the travel time between the western suburbs and Melbourne City by a huge amount, especially right after the lockdown. Now you can see there's so much of traffic back again. And these sort of infrastructure projects will really cut down the travel time. And when infrastructure projects happen, there's going to be more construction jobs, which is ultimately being created. And that will result in population growth because people are moving in here, and that will create the property appreciation. So in the cycle, as we all know, I think infrastructure projects is the main driver there.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and what would you say are the most popular suburbs in the west, Navin? And what would be the entering price or starting price?
I mean, when the western suburbs started off, I'm talking 5-6 years ago, Point Cook was the most popular suburb, and that had a pretty good run. And now we are talking over 800,000 for a house and land package in Point Cook. Then we had Williams Landing, which has resulted in a huge boom because there was a new train station there. Thanet, again, shopping centers, train stations. There's so much potential in Thanet still. Then we have Werribee. There's so many projects going on there. We have Wyndham Vale, and Membrane is another suburb right next to Wyndham Vale. All these suburbs are really, really good. It's each has their benefits, and most of these suburbs have their own shopping centers, their master plan communities. So, and there's a huge drive for employment. All these are employment hubs. So there's massive potential.
Lovely, lovely. Since you brought up Thanet, I have a few stats or facts that I like to share, which I got just a while ago. So Thanet is one of the fastest growing suburbs in outer Melbourne with a current population of 49,780, which is the situation in 2020. And it's expected to increase by 164% by 2041. That's about 131,000 people in Tarnite alone. The Tarnite Activity Centre is classified as a major activity centre in the planned Melbourne, with its purpose to fulfill and service and anchor retail services and business needs of the Tarnite community. So seems like Tarnite is a pretty hot spot when you talk about West Melbourne, close towards the city as well. It's just 25 kilometers from the city.
Exactly, that's the most important thing. Tarnite is very close to the city. You can get into the city within about half an hour. And what you said is spot on. It's employment hub. People in the West region love it. And also another fact is now Melbourne is opening up the borders slowly now for citizens and PR holders, but I'm sure it will open up by Jan Feb to the foreigners. And then the students, the migration will continue to happen. And I think it's going to be an influx of people coming in next year. And when there's new migrants coming in, the Western suburbs are one of the few affordable suburbs for people to start off life at. I think, again, from so many factors, there's so much potential in the Western region.
Very exciting, very exciting. And so let's talk about another suburb that has been very hot in the recent past. We have had quite a number of people looking at that suburb, getting land, waiting in queues. Geelong. So the situation in Geelong is crazy at the moment. There is no land easily available to be found. Is the demand actually that high? And will this continue now?
Yes, the demand is high. I think there is undersupply of lands in Geelong. I'm sure it will be fulfilled because there's so much of land available and developers are flocking in to buy the lands. So it just takes some time to do the subdivisions and so forth. But there's so much of demand. Geelong is a beautiful city. One is the lifestyle. From all these estates, you can get to the beach in about 5-10 minutes. And it's a lifestyle destination. People just go there just to relax and unwind themselves. So, especially with the Geelong Melbourne feed rail coming up, where you can get to Melbourne in about 40-45 minutes. It's going to be a total game changer, and people have realized that already. People are willing to move into Geelong to live in. At the same time, investors love it. I mean, overseas investors as well as local investors, especially interstate, they love it. And all this has resulted, firstly, from the first home buyers and then from the investors. There's so much of demand, and there's clearly a lack of supply there. So demand is real. There was a release at one of the estates, War Lily, and we were waiting for a couple of lands. There's 2 lands left, but those are bigger lands touching $400,000, which means you're touching $700,000 per package. So Geelong is not cheap anymore.
Right. Okay. And so if now I understand that when you take the home buyers, the people in Australia, residents, citizens, they'll be the first to reach these lands or whatever that's available. How do the foreigners get their hands on something in Geelong, for example, right? Because we are over here and we want to get something over there. We can't stand in line. We don't have a queue. You got the people there who've been given preference. So how do you help me, if I'm a foreigner, to get my hands into something that is not easily available?
No, that's what we are there for, right? I mean, we help all our overseas investors because, like you say, in queue means you have to be on a registration queue to get onto it. So if we have interest, we can register them, and then they might not get the land in the next release immediate week, but in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whenever they get it, we can definitely hold that land for them through our relationships, as well as because of the volume of sales we do for the developers. So we have a really good relationship. So we can definitely help them by blocking a land. It might not happen immediately, but we can definitely get it in about 4 to 6 weeks max.
Right. So how do you go about blocking the land? Do we have to pay as a foreigner? Do I have to make a payment, or would you do that on my behalf? How does it work?
Yeah, it's $1,000 deposit when they reserve $1,000 deposit, and then most lands have increased the deposit to 5 to 10%. It's a 10% deposit in about 1 to 2 weeks, and then 5% deposit on the build. And that way you lock in the price of the land as well as the construction. And then based on the timeline of the stage you reserve your land at, that is when you have to pay the land in full. So if it is 1 year away, you don't have to do anything else after that. You pay the remaining balance at settlement or when the land ownership transfers.
Excellent, excellent. And now say I buy a property there, house and land package, and I pay the 10%, I sign the 2 contracts, and I need to exit due to various reasons. It could be anything. It could be cash flow issues. It could be that I cannot go forward for certain reasons. How can you help me recover the money that I put down? Is it refundable, or how does it work?
Yeah, it is not refundable. By contractually you're bound that the developer can forfeit the deposit if it is not settled. But we have helped a lot of clients in that situation where if they can let us know in advance, we can easily nominate that land to another purchaser because the price you have bought has been definitely less than the price in about a year's time. So there will be, especially the locals, they do have the ability to grab those lands. So as long as we have some notice, at least 6 months notice, then we can easily nominate that land to a new purchaser and recover their money back. But contractually, the developer can forfeit their deposit if they don't settle.
Right, right. Also, now as a foreigner, how do I get my hands on a property?
Yeah, as a foreigner, once you know the process is any foreigner can buy a property. It's very simple. Any foreigner can buy a property as long as the property is brand new. So it has to be a house and land package where you get a land and build a property. If it's a house, it has to be off the plan apartment. If it's an apartment or a townhouse, you pay, as we discussed, $1,000 deposit. You sign the contracts, pay the 10%, and then as a foreigner, you have to get an approval called Foreign Investment Review Board approval from the government. That's part of the government, and as long as the property is brand new, that will be granted. Once that is done, as a foreigner, you have got the approval to purchase the land, and then you may go for a loan, you may not. But then either way, you take ownership of the land during the specified time frame, and then the construction will start in progress payment. So the construction will take about 6 months. And yeah, you get the property, and then we help all our overseas investors as well as locals to rent it out, manage it, and then resell it when they want to. So we are there for them right throughout the process. And yeah, where we go. So it's a very straightforward process, even for a foreigner.
Right. Okay. And who takes care of the property in my absence? Now, Navin, I bought a property from you. I'm in Sri Lanka, or I'm in India, Dubai, wherever, and I'm not there. Who's going to look after that property of mine in my absence, and how does it work?
Yeah, so that's where the property management comes into play. We have our own property management division where they take care of it. They get statements every single month on their income, expenditure, all outgoings, so that they have full transparency. There'll be routine inspections happening. They get detailed inspection reports with pictures on each element of the house, the garden, so that they'll be fully up to date on what is happening with the property, what the income is they're getting. And also we provide valuation reports every quarter so that they know the trends of appreciation, they know the suburb profile, the demographic. We keep our clients up to date on a quarterly basis on what is going on, so that they know how their investment is going, they know how the tenants are, whether they're getting paid or not, all those things. So the property management division takes care of all that.
Excellent. I feel safe already. All right, Navin, that's it for the questions. Is there anything else that
Yeah, let's see what else we have got. There's a question about Adelaide. Do you think it is a good time to invest in Adelaide? Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people think Adelaide is a boring town, a dead city, but as an investor, this is the best time to get into Adelaide. There's so many things happening, a lot of infrastructure projects. A lot of people are migrating to Adelaide because it's easier with the point system and so forth to go into Adelaide than Melbourne or Sydney right now. And there is a mining boom happening as well in Adelaide. A lot of people think everything is happening in the Western Australia or Perth, that region, but Adelaide has a huge mining boom happening. So they have uranium, iron ore, gold, copper. So there's so many mines there, and so it's definitely a safe place to invest as an investor.
Brilliant.
Another one about Brisbane. Do you think there will be property boom because of Olympics? Absolutely. The best example is Sydney Olympics in 2000. When they announced in 1992, there was, between that time, there was about 60% growth. And I mean, with Brisbane, there's so much of projects going on. There's going to be $8.1 billion impact into the Queensland government. So there's going to be massive growth. I mean, you can expect 60 to 80% growth from now to then. And investors they know that, especially interstate investors, and they are jumping on properties in Brisbane. I think those are the two questions which has come online. Anything else, Shine?
Would you like to tell us about the webinar happening tomorrow, Navin?
Oh, yes. So tomorrow we are having a webinar focused at foreigners. We do fortnightly webinars for locals in Australia, in every state, every 2 weeks. But once a month, we do a webinar for foreigners. So wherever you might be, join in. It's more about property education, because if you're educated on how to do it, then you'll be very well informed. So that is our sole purpose. And we want to educate you on how, as a foreigner, can buy a property, what are the strategies which you can use. So all that will be discussed at the webinar. We'll drop a link for you to register. It's at 9 p.m. Melbourne time, 3:30 p.m. Sri Lankan time and Indian time, and I think 1:30 or 1:30 Dubai time. So we're focusing India, Dubai, and Sri Lanka, as well as Singapore. But wherever you might be, feel free to join in. It's going to be useful, very useful information.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, we tend to
Right,
keep
Navin.
this short and sweet, 15-20 minutes. Yeah, so we do this every week. We will see you next week.
Yes, next week, same time, same place. Navin will be always in, and please throw in your questions. Anything related to property in Australia, Navin is the man, and Grid Property is the company. So let's keep in touch, and let's see you next week.
Thank you.